Welcome to the Women Choosing Growth podcast, where we bring you practical advice and guidance on how to grow your business and achieve success in your entrepreneurial journey. We feature inspiring stories of success, challenges of growth, and lessons learned from women entrepreneurs, industry experts, and thought leaders who have been through the growing pains inevitable as an entrepreneur. Whether you are just getting started or are looking to scale up your business, our show is designed to provide you with the tools, resources, and community you need to grow your business. Join your host, Tina, a lifelong entrepreneur and business growth advisor, as we explore topics such as marketing, sales, finance, leadership, and personal growth, all tailored specifically to the needs of women entrepreneurs. So if you're ready to grow your business faster and smarter, and learn from the experiences of those who have traveled the growth path before you, then this podcast is for you. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of Women Choosing Growth. I am your host, Tina Sue, and today we have international business and life guide Mel McSherry, who helps inspired yet overwhelmed entrepreneurs honor their lives and become the architects of their own success. Mel uses her spiritual gifts as well as her 14 plus years of business building experience to slash entrepreneur stress and bring their success to life. Sounds amazing. Using both human design combined with traditional business development tools, Mel coaches others on how they can connect to what they want, understand how they are designed to create what they want, and implement their strengths and strategies so that every day they are profitable mentally, emotionally, and financially. As an entrepreneur since 2010, Mel has launched 2 successful businesses, became a 2-time publishing author, spoken to almost 200 times all over the United States and over the big pond, and created a true life by design, all while being the primary caregiver to her 12-year-old son who's autistic. Mel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Tina. I'm so excited to be here.
I am excited to have you here. We have so much to dive into. You know, you spoke my love language of profitability, and that doesn't just mean financially, but exactly what you said, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, like all encompassing.
All the
What does
things,
that mean to be profitable? Exactly. So I'm excited to dive in with you today. And our listeners, I know, are going to walk away with some great tangible tactics. But before we do that, I would love to hear your journey on how you became this world traveling, amazing life, business, all around wonderful coach.
Oh, thank you. So it's been a journey, most definitely, filled with plenty of plot twists, which I think all entrepreneurial journeys are. But I actually originally started in the fitness industry. I was a certified personal trainer. I did in-home trainings, outdoor boot camps, bridal boot camps, whole 9 yards. And when my son was born in 2011, I was married to his father at the time, who worked at the time for Major League Baseball in the media department. So he was gone 2 months straight for spring training, worked every single home game, did every other away trip. And our kiddo was born in the middle of the baseball season. So I had to figure this out. I'm in Chicago and I don't have any family here. So it was really, a very interesting introduction to the first plot twist.
Motherhood alone is a plot twist.
Sprinkle in some undiagnosed postpartum depression, and we had ourselves apart. So I ended up taking a step to the side, and I prefer to say step to the side because I really don't believe in step backs, and decided to do some online medical billing for my father's company, as well as be a VA to an IT company in Dallas, as well as a consultation company. And the medical billing, not so much. The VA work I actually really enjoyed for the most part. But it wasn't necessarily quote unquote aligned with what I wanted to do, but it helped me regain that mental and emotional profitability because it was sustaining the financial end of it. And I think sometimes in our journeys, we need to make those decisions of how can we appease one to receive the others, even if we don't think it's in an alignment or the quote unquote correct step. So during that time, I really wanted to get back into fitness, and I ended up partnering with a network marketing company called Beachbody, and I became an online health and fitness coach with them. And I really loved my experience with him. When I initially went into it, it had nothing to do with team building because I thought, who am I to help somebody build their business? Haha. But yeah, right. The universe is like, just wait. But I just really wanted to help people with their fitness goals and be able to still, stay home and be a caregiver to my son. So I ended up, honestly, pat on my own back, kind of crushing it pretty quickly. And I was hitting my sales goals pretty consistently. And my leader at the time was curious on how I was getting this all done because I was what we were coined as a married single mom. And so she asked me to do a quick day in the life of Mel, just to kind of give some people some insights on how I did all of this. And I really didn't think much of it. Obviously, looking back on it now, it was the start of my foundation, which is time and energy management. I've always been a big believer in fit the tasks with your capacity, right? Pushing yourself, trying to overwhelm yourself, even though we don't mean to, is not helpful to anyone. And so that had always been extremely important to me. And when I put that in this little training, she put it in the new coach boot camp. All of a sudden, her team explode. And then all of a sudden, people wanted to work with me, and I had a team. And then fast forward a year later, we're in the top 1% of the company, and I'm having other coaches asking me to do team calls and trainings for them. That got the attention of friends in other network marketing companies. So I started doing team calls and trainings for them. And we fast forward to 2015. I'm in the middle of my divorce, plot twist number gazillion. And I have one foot in business coaching essentially, and one foot in fitness. And neither of them were really going anywhere. And beautifully through Beachbody, I had the opportunity to have a year-long internship with John C. Maxwell, who is the ultimate coach guru. He's been around for decades. I grew up listening to him. My father is an entrepreneur. And through him, I really got to understand what coaching is. And I really loved it. I loved his approach to it. I loved even the different classes that he had with speaking and all of that. And so through that internship, I got my international coaching certificate through him and his team. I left Beachbody in 2016 and launched my own coaching company in 2017. And I originally thought that I was just going to stick with women predominantly in network marketing companies because I really loved showing them how to make those businesses their own, because it's very easy to get lost in that copy and paste lemming style kind of business building.
It's part of what they build on.
Exactly. But the more that I started just, talking, and the different mentors that I, hired, the more I realized that it was mainly time and energy management and prioritization. So that was kind of my first framework of really being more practical, really being more structured. And though that did well for me financially, as my journey continued more and more mentally and emotionally, I was feeling disconnected. And it came to a point to where in 2020, I went to a spiritual retreat, which unbeknownst to all of us was 2 weeks before lockdown here in Chicago, which lasted about a year and a half. And human design found me. And it was the most amazing experience because when I first had my reading done, I cried because it gave me the vernacular to my how, why my how was the way that it was. And these things that I was, quote unquote, challenging myself to do, or quote unquote, pushing myself out of my comfort zone, were really not for me. It was not the way that I was supposed to do business. But I had no other vernacular. I had no other resources to explain why I felt that way. And when I saw that in front of me, it just gave me so much excitement, validation, confirmation, and awareness. And through that, I really figured out that even though I had been an entrepreneur now for 10 years, I never took the time to get to know myself inside of my businesses. It was always financially forward first, mental and emotional afterwards. And when I flipped that hierarchy of needs and went back to mental and emotional and connecting to me first, the financial all of a sudden just started flowing in. And it was such a beautiful transition for myself to really be comfortable with myself, be confident in myself. And it gave me so much support and resources and action steps that I could start utilizing to really customizing my business to me, as well as things in my personal life. Now, you would think that I have this quote unquote magic thing that everything would go swimmingly, but plot twist
That's
number
not life.
gazillion and four. No, why would that be life?
How boring would that life be?
Really, I don't think there'd be podcasts or books or anything else if we're like,
right. Why
and
would you need to listen to us if you had it all figured out?
seriously, thanks for having me on, Tina. It was great. But it was one of those moments where, because I had pushed myself for so long, I, unbeknownst to me, was burning out in the background, but I never gave myself the chance to see that, to connect to it, until it literally bit me in the ass in October of 2022. And all of a sudden, I felt like it was all of a sudden, I was not happy in my business. I was not excited to see my clients. I didn't want to be on social media. Everything in life was overwhelming me. And I realized it was my nervous system finally relaxing from all of the things I had to be in 2020 to 2022, pretty much. With my son being autistic, he was learning from home for a year and a half. So I was his teacher. I was his special ed teacher. I was his occupational therapist. I was his behavioral therapist, plus a mom, plus a business owner. And he was 2 feet away from me. It was a lot. And though we got through it beautifully and as unscathed as possible, in 2022, my system was like, okay, now you have these beautiful supports of your partner, of this information, of a business that is running rather smoothly. You're going to tone it down now. And I ended up putting my business on autopilot up until January of this year, 2024. And it was scary. I definitely recognized that it was a privilege that I could make that decision to dip into my savings and to just let my business be. But the even more beautiful thing was, because I knew my human design, even in that time where it was probably one of my lowest of lows, I was still profitable in all the areas. I grew mentally and emotionally profitable because I reestablished myself of who I am now and what I've learned. And the financial pieces, honestly, just presented themselves. And it was such a gorgeous confirmation and validation of why human design is such a beautiful tool. And the fact that when you do, and we hear this a lot, especially for those of us who are women or femme identified, when we do put ourselves first, the beauty does follow. Like, things really do start to become more cohesive and, again, more profitable. So that is my journey as of now. It's been 14 years. We'll see what happens in the next 14, but it's so gorgeous for me to know that I have a tool like human design, along with all the other supports that I have, that will move along with me and continue to support me and introduce me to myself as I continue to evolve.
I love that. It sounds like a rough couple of years, but the explanation of where your body shut down without telling you, that is how I've heard from other entrepreneurs as well. We have another podcast on someone's journey of physically like down and out, and was like high energy before that. So it sounds like it's like it sneaks up on you for sure. You don't get the warning signs that people would think like, oh, I'm going to be tired or I'm going to feel different. It sounds like your journey was the same from the burnout standpoint, that it just hits you.
Absolutely. And I didn't even know that I didn't even quantify it as burnout right away, because say when I've heard of other stories of burnout, there had been a lead up to it. There had been other even physical ailments that they have heard or felt or something. And I felt like I literally woke up one morning and just did not want to compute. And it was
Tiffany Martin. That's the episode. Yeah. It sounds like the same for you. So yeah, I guess that's a side note warning for those of you driven entrepreneurs who are just crushing it every day and burning the candle at both ends. It's not likely going to give you a warning. So glad that you pulled through that. Glad that you're energized. But can we define, you mentioned human design quite a bit. Can you define what does that mean?
Sure. So human design is a system that is created by combining your chakras, astrology, Kabbalah, I Ching, and quantum physics. It's a lot. I call it the ultimate onion of personal development because there are so many layers to it. Sure. And what it essentially does is it shows you your energetic blueprint. It shows you your strategies. It shows you your starting points and your stopping points. It also shows you how you make your best decisions and where that information comes from. And the reason why I love it so much is it just gives you that foundation of who you are. So it gives you the vernacular. It gives you, again, that validation and confirmation where people, when I've done readings for them, go, oh, I'm not crazy. Oh, I'm not lazy. Oh, I'm not. Oh, like this now makes more sense. And the more that we get that from ourselves as well as from others, the more confident we can be, and not only in our how, but what that support looks like to bring that how to life. We talk about our whys all the time. Simon Sinek has coined that beautifully.
Love him.
But I do too. And it is such an important piece of your business. What we don't talk about a lot is the how. We get kind of thrusted into, well, you need to be here and you need to do this and you need to have that. And I did as well when I first came into the coaching industry. I drank that Kool-Aid like no other, and I did everything picture perfect. And I'm not saying that those things are wrong, but what I'm saying is that we start to lose ourselves because we start defining us by our processes instead of who we are as a person. And when you get that information through human design, then you can take those frameworks and those suggestions and those things and really understand A, what's meant for you, what's not meant for you, and B, how to customize what you've been taught to you and your design. So you bring in that sustainability, and that becomes just more fluid and connective to your process.
So let's dive into that a little bit more, and make it a little more tangible, because we've heard it. You need to know your why
Yeah.
all day long,
Yeah.
and the how is important, right? Because you can have
Yeah.
big why goals, but if you don't know how you're going to get there, we need both.
Mm-hmm.
How does someone connect the two, like tangibly put the two into practice? The how and the
So,
why.
yeah. So, and that's a great question. So, obviously, your why is your inspiration, right? That is your
Mhm.
intention. That is who you want to serve. That's, your whole, your purpose in the
Yep.
business. And how you connect it to your why is through you. And again, going back to that beginning foundational steps that I love, it's registering your time and energy management, mostly energy management. And it's understanding and being proud of your pace. So if somebody's why, so for example, for myself, my why is to help inspired entrepreneurs, honor their lives and be the architect of their success. And I have found through my how, it's the way that I structure my day. So because I know I am a projector, which is one of the 5 types in human design, I know my energy is very limited. So I make sure that my calendar supports that so I don't be human and muck it up, right? So that means automizations for me. I have links for everything. I don't touch my calendar. You have to go through a link or you do not exist because I will muck it up. And that protects my time. So I don't have to explain why I only take 3 meetings a day. They just see it on my calendar and it's done for me. So that automatically lets me let go and can put my energy and other things, as well as understand what my calling is, or my energy, how much energy I need for that day. So then I can customize the rest of my to-do list around those things. It's also helped me understand my offers better. So, how to better structure them to honor my energy and my gifts. So, what it really does is when you connect those two and you customize that how, it just makes things become fluid, like I mentioned earlier. And it helps you breathe a little bit better because you're not trying to jump back and forth and do all these things. You understand what social media platforms you want to go on, how the best way is to post for those things, how's the best way to do your content. Like it just gives you that deeper meaning to your how that you just feel confident in, and therefore can just put it forward with, I don't want to say little or no stress, because again, we're human and this
Sure.
is life, but it does give you that sense of ease as you move through it.
Seems like a guide, right? Like, okay,
Absolutely.
it's not guesswork anymore. It's like, I've got a very
No.
clear vision.
Yeah, I call it your operations manual.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and very intentional. And then when we talk about profitability,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, emotionally, physically, and bank accountly, I can see where that can play into that, because if you're
Yeah.
dialed in, you're very purposeful, you're energized by connecting your why and your how in life, business, all the being a mom
Yeah.
in those areas, that's where financially it naturally comes. Am I
Yeah,
feeling it right?
absolutely. Yeah, because it creates that sustainability. When we put the financial milestones first and we make numbers the priority and, hitting those check marks a priority, we do in essence lose that sustainability because we're just making it about something that we have to get from somebody else instead of
Mhm.
something that we can actually create on our own through the day to day. And that's how I've been able to survive and thrive as an entrepreneur for the last 14 years through many plot twists, even before I found human design. Because, spoiler alert, we all do work within our design automatically. What understanding your human design does is just show you where you have gone too far, or you hadn't not that I would say that you hadn't initiated correctly, but it shifts how you initiate things or how you approach things. So
Okay.
it sinks it in a little bit more. It hones it into you so you can really be that master of your energy, because you have full say on how you spend the time and energy that you have. And so with resources like that, again, it gives you that vernacular of, no, this is why I don't want to do this and I shouldn't
Mhm.
do this because I
Right.
want to do it this way.
Are you an accomplished woman business owner with a story to tell? Do you crave a platform where you can share your journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly? Hey everyone, it's Tina here. If you're fans of the show, then you know we are a show that celebrates the strengths and resilience of women entrepreneurs just like you. As we're getting this podcasting community going, I thought it would be fitting to extend an invitation to apply to join me as a guest on our top 100 podcast platform. I started Women Choosing Growth because I believe that real growth happens when we come together and share our expertise and our experiences. We want to hear your inspiring stories, the challenges you face, and the lessons you've learned on your entrepreneur journey. Whether you've triumphed over adversity or faced setbacks head on, your story has the power to inspire and empower other women just like you. This platform is for you to showcase your achievements, highlight your expertise, and create meaningful connections within our community. So, if you're a fearless woman business owner, unafraid to open up about your path to success, we want you on our show. Go to www.womenchoosinggrowth.com and join our community. From there, you'll be given the chance to fill out the short application. If you believe that you have a story to share, then why not? Once again, it's www.womenchoosinggrowth.com. I can't wait to feature more amazing and talented women in this community. Now, back to the show. I like that. So we've talked a little bit about burnout and the sustainability being a key to success. What are some strategies that you've taught or work with people on to really combine those so that they don't lead to burnout?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, I always love when people connect to and respect their pace.
Okay.
We are taught a lot in entrepreneurship. We get kind of inundated with, 60K in 60 seconds and, 5 weeks to this. And we get really kind of pressured to hit certain milestones, certain ways,
Especially
certain times.
comparing ourselves to the other people. And that's probably the biggest, like,
Absolutely.
someone else did 65K. Well, geez, now I need to, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or you've been in a master class and you're like, why does this seem so easy to this person, but it's not syncing
Yeah.
up to me? And it's because we are not all built the same. And success is nobody has the same path to success. Do they have tools and resources that we can utilize? Absolutely. But when we try to copy and paste 100% somebody else's framework, honestly, even for those that it worked for, going back to what we mentioned earlier, it's going to bite you sooner or later. It's going to not
Mhm.
work anymore. And you're going to wonder why. And so
Right.
the first thing that we always talk about, or the first thing that I always remind my clients of, is that you have your own pace, and human design helps you understand initially what that pace is. So again, going back to my story, I have 3 to 5 hours of energy a day. So my pace is quote unquote slower. And though it's not slower, it's just sustainable. But in
I
my
was gonna say
mind,
that sounds negative, like, but it's
right?
not. It's like I
It's
own my
not.
shit. I own my shit,
Exactly.
and I am only energy efficient
Yeah.
for 3 hours a day.
Just trust me, if you get me in a meeting after 3 p.m., I am worthless.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that. So, because I was taught entrepreneurs are set up to sundown. Like I thrived on telling people how little sleep I got and how much I had worked, because I felt like that was my badge of honor to
You're
be
like, "Look at
validated.
me."
I
Mhm.
know. Yeah, completely. And a lot of us still think that. And most of us don't have that much natural energy. Some of us have to receive it from others. So it's that, as well as, well, why do I feel, burnt out after I've done XYZ? Or why do I feel energized after I've done ABC? And it just helps people understand and honor and be excited about their pace and their process and their journey.
Yes. Yes. I did a similar exercise probably, I don't know, 5 years ago or 5, 6 years ago, something like that.
Mhm.
Because I was feeling like different parts of the day. I was like, I totally worked on this, 3 days ago and crushed it. And now I would like want to poke my eyeballs out doing the same, kind of working on the same type of thing. But it was
Yeah.
different times of day.
Yep.
And so then I don't know, maybe it was Simon, whoever, I had heard the same thing, like really get focused on your energy lots. Like, when are you most creative? When are you most tactical? When are you
Exactly.
most, like the different emotions, different
Yeah.
mindsets that you need to be in? When should you do financial crap? Right. Cause that's like an analytical brain, and just
Yeah.
really paying attention to that and being very intentional on, and that back then it was like Friday afternoons, which today is a Friday. It is in the afternoon. This girl's not doing like financial analysis. Like, I'm doing
Right.
this kind of stuff. I'm doing more of
Yeah.
my creative work. I'm working on social media, working on, building something more creative. But
Exactly.
yeah.
That is such good information. I'm a morning person. I am up at 5 a.m. I'm the most creative from like 6 a.m. to like 11 a.m. That's why I take my meetings starting at 10 a.m. and I take them till 3, because then my brain is dead. And when you have that information, again, that has nothing to do with human design. That's just you checking in on yourself and connecting to yourself.
Mhm.
Shift your schedule. I tell my clients all the time who are night owls, I'm never going to tell them to be a morning person. Like, there are books out there, obviously, they're like, you need to wake up early and make your bed, and that's how you're successful. No.
No,
If
that
you're that
is
person that
not
stays
me.
up, yeah, no.
I'm the
So
3
honor
a.m.
that.
girl.
And I love it. I love it. And you probably customize, or at least protect that time, right? And you make sure that that's just how your system is. So you take meetings at certain times. I
Mhm.
think as entrepreneurs, we try so hard to still fit, especially for those who have corporate PTSD, to still fit within the 9 to 5 framework. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I need permission to have odd office hours, have odd office hours. This is your permission.
Yes.
Because that is going to be your best set for success, your best energetically focused, all of that. And that is the joy of being an entrepreneur, is that you can customize that stuff, and you can, as I said before, you have full say. So own when you're the most energetic, protect that time, make those automatizations, or make those, those free tools to where you don't touch things that you can muck up, and I didn't want to say the universe will protect you as well, but let those tools support and protect you, so that you can have full permission and say to utilize the time away from those meetings. So
Mhm.
it's all about, like, I think we really are coming to a time in entrepreneurship where people are wanting to just go to the beat of their own drum sooner rather than later,
Mhm.
and trying to find resources that are more traditional, that fit with that kind of more misfit attitude, can be a little daunting or feel like it doesn't exist. And again, for me, that's why I love introducing human design, because it shows them how to take those more traditional frameworks and manipulate them to themselves, or again, can instantly see it and go, nope, not for me. So I'm just going to be, doing my own thing for right now. And when that perfect or that next best resource comes forward, I know what it looks like and I know how to check in to make sure it's right for me.
Mm-hmm. I love that, because that relates so easily into we just gave examples of how to do that in the entrepreneur world,
Mm-hmm.
Using tools, using calendars, using systems and automations, and being mindful of when you're doing the work tasks. But then we can do the same thing after work, before work, whatever, in our
Absolutely.
personal lives, and be really intentional on when is the best time with your kids or your
Yeah.
hobby, or what, maybe you like to fly model airplanes, whatever it is that you do,
Yeah.
being really intentional on your energy, your time, your all the things, the mood,
Yeah.
in both aspects of life. So I love that. Absolutely. Any
It's,
other advice? Like it's a lot if someone hasn't, if an entrepreneur is in that grind mode, which many are, and haven't had the
mm-hmm.
experience to really slow down enough to get
Mm-hmm.
intentional and do some of these exercises like we have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is like the first step? Like, because it might seem like a lot. Like, I have to know my why. I have to know how to do my why. I need to know what my energy levels are at what times of the day. Like,
Right.
it makes sense to me because, like I said, I really was intentional with that about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
But for someone just learning this and being like, wow, what they talk about seems amazing, but what is the first couple steps to get control of their energy and their why in their life?
I always say the first thing is just to reconnect to yourself. And the best way to do that, I think, is by asking yourself, what do I want? Like, what do I
Mm,
want? What do I want my day to look like? What do I want? Like, I had a mentor back in the day. One of my favorite practices that I still do is, what is my ideal day? And just journaling it. If time didn't exist, what would my ideal day look like?
mhm.
And for some people, that question can be very daunting. And I've had many people go, well, I don't know what I want. So there's your first step. So it's spending some time on, okay, well then what makes you happy? What lights you up? What makes you energetic? What about your
Mhm.
business do you love? It's finding those emotional connections to what you do and who you are. That starts, I always say it's like the gateway drug to understanding deeper of your connection to your business and to yourself. So I always say start with, what do I want? And then from there, it's even the things that we're talking about today, they're so taking notes and just going, okay, now that I know this, I know that Tina said this, I know Mel said this. I'm going to start with automation, or what is the first thing that you can do to get closer to what you want with the resources you already have. That's another key point.
Mhm.
We get so caught up in looking for external resources before we check in on what we already have,
Sure.
because we have everything inside of our soul. We have everything inside of us to answer the call of our soul. We just have to find it. And we don't take the time to do that because we're afraid we're going to be too slow. We're afraid we're going to miss out, which I don't believe in that at all.
Mhm.
It, and it helps, again, already start to adjust your pace from this frantic, I got to go, I got to be, I got to do, to what do I want? What do I want to do today? How am I feeling today?
Yeah.
Okay. Are the things on my to-do list matching how I'm feeling today? No. Are there other things on my to-do list that match how I feel today? Do those. I don't really believe in a wrong way to build a business. There's just ways that are more profitable and ways that are not so much.
Yep. Yeah. Right.
So it's
I would
it's
love to sit on a beach all day, every day, but I
right.
know mentally that would work for about a day and a half,
Right.
and then my bank account would be mad at me in,
Right.
years.
So then even with that of like, yeah, I want to sip pina coladas by the pool. Okay,
Yes.
go back to that emotion. What can you do to at least get that same satisfaction or that same peacefulness? Because there's a lot of
Yeah.
different signatures inside of human design that show us that we are in alignment. And so it is finding those those flecks of gold throughout our day and how we can still sprinkle those in no matter what your mood is, no matter if you're in a year and a half long burnout or you're just trying to make, point A somehow get to point B. But it goes back to, this is about you. You are the singular most important person in your life and in your business. So by continuously checking in on yourself and just asking yourself, what do I want? That then just helps you take a moment in pausing before you move forward.
I know what you're saying there too, like, some reflection throughout the day, throughout the week, while you're in work mode and personal mode. The freeze game. Have you heard of the freeze game?
I haven't.
Okay. So the freeze game is like literally like you're feeling something. Either you're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I hate my life. I can't stand doing these tasks. Why
Right.
did I even start business? So everything from that to, oh my gosh, I feel so energized. I am, doing my calling 100%, and any
Mhm.
feeling in between there. So it's the emotion. Like you just play the freeze game throughout the day. If you acknowledge, what am I feeling? Am I angry? Am I happy? Am I
Oh, I love that.
nervous? Am I, there's actually like, I mean, you could Google like a list of adjectives too, but you journal it and say, here's how I was feeling at this time of day. Here's what I was doing. So I was working on my, financial trend. A lot of people don't like financials. That's why I use like
Can you do
number
my
crunching.
financials?
Yeah, to me,
My
it
favorite.
energizes me because it tells a story and I'm very visual. So I
I
actually
love
like
that.
financials because it paints a picture.
Yeah.
Um, but for some people, things like I am not artistic. So if I have to create, thankfully I have a VA that does my artistic stuff for me,
Yeah.
because that's the stuff. Oh my gosh, I've spent 3 hours and I've got 2 pictures and some words on a piece of paper that look like crap. Right. So that's the stuff
Right.
that sucks my energy. So anyways, the
Yeah.
freeze game is like throughout the day, you kind of journal, what is the emotion I have right now? What is it that I'm working on? And then it gives you that space. It's like a 30-second to a minute thing, right?
I love that.
Yes. And so then you also then have this journal after a week, after a month, and say like, okay, all of my freeze games, when I've used these words,
Yeah.
my happy words, I was doing these things. And then you're like, okay, and here's when I like randomly, and you can set your, like, if you got a watch, you can set your phone so that your alarm is going off and it's just like
Yeah.
your freeze game. So then you have like true data of
Yeah.
where I was energized, where I was not, what time of day was, all the things.
I
Sitting
love
by
that.
the beach, walking the dog, like those things are happy.
Yeah. And that, I love that because that's such a great, it's so beautiful when we start to really see how simple it is to be quote unquote successful and sustainable in your business. Is it easy? Some days yes, some days no, but it is really that simple of exercises, of checking in, and we try to make it so much harder because we feel like then we've earned whatever quote unquote success we've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
When it's too easy, we think we forgot something. We think that, oh well, this isn't going to go well because this went way too smoothly, when instead utilizing that, or even again, if you know your human design or not, that is a ping that you are on the right path. Because when it's that fluid and that simple and
Mm-hmm.
seems that easy, that means you were in an alignment with your energy, with your human design, with all of those things. And so even those reflections of, when was your day the simplest, the easiest, the most fluid, the most profitable mentally, emotionally, and financially? What
Mm-hmm.
steps did you take? What steps didn't you take? Especially didn't take. I always tell my clients, yes, we talk about a lot of what you want, but even more importantly is understanding what you don't want.
Oh, for sure.
Because we see those red flags a lot faster than when we're just looking for the positives or the things that are going to get us to what we think is our next level. And we miss, I'm definitely guilty of that, obviously, of missing those red flags. And so it's that constant check-in and recalibration as well. What worked, what didn't, what do I never want to do again? What do I want to learn more of or tweak? And that's constant as an entrepreneur. And I think we need
Yes.
to continuously talk about that, because I don't think it is part of the conversation, but I don't think it's as large a part of the conversation in entrepreneurship as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, social media has made entrepreneurship very sexy, very,
It looks
Bali babe.
easy.
Yeah, like I just started this 4 weeks ago. Yeah, 10 years and 4 weeks ago. We
Exactly.
don't so
Went
so then
to
that
10 million followers in 30 days. No, you didn't. And they're
yeah,
probably all from another
you
country
bought
and
them. Yeah,
you pay for them.
exactly.
Exactly.
But that comparison that you mentioned earlier is real. And
Mm-hmm.
so even in that of like Instagram is a filter and a picture and 2,000 words or 2,000 characters. There is always more to that iceberg. Like that is the tip of the iceberg. We have no idea what's underneath.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can use those things as motivation. Yes, you can use those as maybe parts that make you inquisitive about how to possibly shift it. What it should never be is your go-to site for resources. Social
Right.
media will always be to sell, will always be, it's beautiful. I love it. I've been virtual since, 2013. And I've also been through all the phases and back again, utilizing all of them. And I have
Mm-hmm.
found, especially in the last 4 years, when I am myself on the platforms that I want to be in, that is one of those fluid, simple steps that have brought that profitability to me every single time.
I want to double down on your the way you live and what you're sharing here today, that don't look to the social media, don't look to the guru for the answers. Totally look inside yourself, because only
Absolutely.
you listening, whoever you are the only one who knows what you're supposed to do next to make you happy.
Exactly. And that's why I love utilizing human design in my guidance for entrepreneurs, because it's not about me. It's no longer about my frameworks or my foundations that my mentors, well, I don't want to say made me, but thoroughly encouraged to set up and to stick to. I now look at their chart and or their design, and I ask them exploratory questions. I facilitate. That's why I prefer the term guide instead of coach. I'm guiding you to yourself. This has
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with me. I'm here to support you so you can connect to yourself, your best processes, and therefore you can fully support your business in your full light. So do know that there are resources and support out there that are for you and will be there for you. And the more you know about yourself, the more you'll understand which of those resources are the most profitable for you.
Love it. There's one more resource that I don't know if you're aware of, but I would love. We share this with. We are that couple here in this household that I have my 5 values literally printed and on my shelf. I
Love
can
it.
point to them right here. And that's kind of our check. Like when we're not our best selves, we literally ask each other, like, are you living your values right now? Because you said that, you know, friendship is value, or integrity is one of my values. And if there's something that's a little sketch, like we will call each other out on our
I
values. And
love
we've
that.
shared, I don't know if you've ever done the value cards,
Yeah, I love them.
the deck of cards, and then you narrow it
Yeah,
down basically until you get to your 5 values. And we've shared that with many friends and family and colleagues. But we took it a step further and printed them, shared it with like all of our close friends that
love
like
it.
this sort of thing. And so we have a whole like team of people holding us accountable to our values, which is kind
That's
of that,
beautiful.
that internal why as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the more that you are open to things like that, and you let your freak flag fly, whatever that is, the more you're going to connect with others who share the same excitement, share the same values, share the same just connection to being. I'm kind of tired of the word authentic, but there's not really any other better word. But when
Mm,
you do present yourself as that authentic, vulnerable human, and when you do connect to what is the most um, important to you, it helps you set those intentions. And I love exercises like that, because I also think we try to make things to step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, blah, instead of here's 5 values which set 5 intentions that you can check yourself on. And
mhm.
from that stems so many other supports, resources, ways that you can ensure that you check yourself before you wreck yourself. And
I love it.
we need to remember, again, it's simple. It's these simple things that help us just continue to be mentally, emotionally, and financially profitable. And it doesn't have to be this elaborate mathematical formula. It could be pure as your 5 values, as setting an intention for the day and checking in on your energy, asking yourself what you want or how you want to feel. And it really is those little things that make such a big difference. I heard Brendan Bouchard speak at a Beachbody conference, and I was floored by him. And I quote him almost every single day. I should have it tattooed somewhere on my body, where he says, it's the little things you do every day that make the biggest difference.
Yep.
And I love that because it's so true. And when we go back to that bit by bit process and really respect our pace as we're moving through it, all of a sudden, yes, it's always a journey, but it's one that we are present in, one that we are aware in, and one that we are connected to no matter what.
Yes, I absolutely love that. I hope that we are giving some value to and some ideas of how to really be true to them, those who are listening right here. Again, it seems like my office is very much my space, right? Because I'm in it for 8 hours a day or so.
Mine is too, yeah.
And I have this big thing right here from my desk that says, do one thing every day that makes you happy. And then, like I said, I have my value cards. I have things on the wall that are just very positive and reinforcing. So I guess you said it before, and I will double down on that too. Like, we're giving everyone listening permission to really find what makes you happy, slow down, work with you on the human design, if that's the route that they want to go, or whatever just is going to work for them to like even the value cards that I mentioned, that gives me permission. I've literally said no, because I'm not going to go do X, Y, and Z because that's not aligned with this particular value of mine, which you shouldn't have asked me to do that because you already know my values, right? So it gives like bumpers in life too. Gives you permission to go do the things that make you happy. And then when you're very aware of your boundaries, like your time and intention, it gives you that excuse, if you will, to say, no, I'm not going to I'm not going to take a Friday 5:00 meeting. Not going to it's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for me. Like, we're both best just not to do it. So once you're aware of those things, like, you can really, I see the alignment now of the profitability, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like all body encompassing. And then financially, it just happens when you're at your best self.
I like to say it's holistic. So it's WHOLE.
Yes.
And another saying that I quote often from my mentor, John C. Maxwell, is you have to say no to the good so you can say yes to the best. And you know that best when you know yourself.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that. Any final words of advice? I know we've shared a lot of tactical things that they can do. So any last words for our lady listeners?
One of my favorite things I just love to remind people, especially, women identified, is trust yourself. You really do have a ton of resources and a ton of strengths and a ton of information. And if you are feeling like you should be doing this or you have to be over here, your body knows and your system knows and your soul knows where you want to go and how your best practices are going to start. So trust that. If you want to experiment away. I'm all about experimentation. And know that experimentation is always going to come with trial and learning. Mm-hmm. And with that, continues to build that trust. So first and foremost, and always, trust yourself. You really do have everything inside of you to answer the call of your soul.
Perfect place to end. I love it. Mel, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing all your wisdom with everyone listening. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. The Women Choosing Growth Show is not just another podcast. It's a tribe of women helping each other grow. So please, share this podcast with all the women entrepreneurs that you would love to see succeed. If you'd like to know more about customized business advising through Cultivate Advisors, download business tools, or sign up for upcoming events, visit www.womenchoosinggrowth.com. Once again, that's www.womenchoosinggrowth.com. Remember, we are in this together. See you on the next one.